Coming to you from the Safe Space Studios, I'm Brodor, and this is a Why We Game product review. In this episode, I'm going to cover the stat trackers from Top Dog Games LLC. Now, looking from your side of the screen, or the side of the screen that the PCs would be looking at, these merely appear to be initiative cards, and nice quality initiative cards, and you get one for all 371 monsters in the 5e monster manual, and that in and of itself seems like a really kick-ass product. But then you get a bunch of blanks for your player characters and for other monsters and or NPCs that you can cater for your campaign or a particular module. But more than that, as the name implies, they actually track the statistics of those creatures. So looking at the Black Dragon here, when I pull it out, it's obviously much, much longer. And on the back side, I have a ton of applicable Black Dragon stats. And then on the back, I have some listing for its legendary actions. And then when the player characters have ultimately defeated the Black Dragon, this big effing box opens up and you have everything in alphabetical order in these big, beautiful tabs. Now, this thing set me back $65. However, I find that it is worth every gold-darn penny because I love organizational stuff. I love things that are going to make my life easier as the DM. And I like having kit, but most of all, I like having space, and this clears up from having an index card or a manual or what have you open on the table right here so I can have my dice and my maps or what other crap I want to have behind the screen here, because all of the pertinent information I need for a combat encounter is right there on those cards. And then inside the box, you also get this little booklet. It's just a couple pages, but it breaks down the abbreviation or shorthand that Top Dog Games uses on their cards. Now, for anyone who's relatively familiar with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, it's a really easy thing for you to figure out. And then on the back, they even give you a listing of all the monsters and how they should or may be organized in your box set. And of course, they all come in alphabetical order. So when you pull those things out of the shrink, they are ready to go. The scoring on the cards is good, and the card stock is certainly thick enough to be reusable. They flatten out again very easily. They even have a coating on them, so if you want, you could use your dry erase. Not wet. Not wet. Dry erase markers for some reason if you wanted to make notes on the front or the backs of these cards. Now, the only downside to them is that with my GM screen, it covers up a lot of the information, particularly for me, the information that I really, really want in an encounter that I can't remember are the conditions and what those conditions mean. Now, the people at Top Dog Games, they sell their own 5e GM screen, which is really, really slick for $25, and they made certain on theirs that all of the condition modifiers are low enough that they each sit below the actual cardboard stat tracker, so you don't lose any of that information. Now, I'm not a rich man, but it may be worth the $25 if I played more 5e than I do. But additionally, they've got other stuff that's kind of worth checking out. But for me, the big one is this little pad of paper for $5. Now, it's got these little circles on it. You make your little notes. So I've got my Black Dragon and my Fanatics and my regular cultists all set aside and ready to go with the little pips that I can mark off as they're taking damage. And that's small and easily fits behind my GM screen. So for the $65 that I spent on this box and the $5 I spent on that tab, I think the product is absolutely remarkable. And the people at the company with whom I spoke when I met them in person at a con were absolutely fantastic. Real, sort of like Alphinius Goo in my review from last week. They're people that really love the hobby and they want to make the hobby easier for people to play and to produce. And for me, not just having the space, but not having to take the time to look up an important piece of information that I need in the heat of the moment. Absolutely love that, because preparation helps maintain immersion, and immersion and fun are really the thing for me. And looking in rule books, it draws away from that. It just totally dicks up your momentum, and it breaks that immersion for people at the table. So something that will make my life easier, but also so that I can produce the game rapidly, right? That to me is just worth its weight in gold. So I dig this product. You may or may not be happy having not seen my butter teeth in this video. You get a little bit of a different angle for what my players are looking at in my games. And if you are a devotee on Patreon, you know my passion for kit and gear and stuff like that. But I dig this stuff. I think it's great. I think they're great people. And I'm sure that the 50th anniversary of Dungeons & Dragons in 2024, when 6E comes out, or whatever the fuck they're calling it, I bet you there's going to be a pretty kick-ass product like this from Top Dog Games.